Hey guys, want to know a secret? Want a behind the scenes look into the real life of an outdoor writer? Well, stay tuned. We expose it all on this episode of Ron Spomer Outdoors. So the truth be known, those of us in this field who harp on being prepared, shooting your rifle, zeroing your rifle, testing your rifle, shooting it regularly to be ready for the hunting season, are doing what I'm doing. The day before the opener, I need to sight in my rifle. How pathetic. It's not really procrastination. Well, maybe to a degree. It's just workload. We have so many rifles that we test, and we're constantly moving scopes off and on, trying new ammunition, testing things out. Man, it's just that we're never quite ready when we should be. So what I'm doing now is getting a rifle ready for elk season that opens tomorrow. It's a proven rifle. I've used it many times. I just haven't shot it with this ammunition. Last time I used it, I was shooting Winchester load and AccuBond long range, 168 grain, worked out just great. Thought in the interest of science, I better try something different. So I'm going with this Vortex. It's a Barnes, and it's a long-range Barnes bullet. It's only 139 grain. They call it their long-range X bullet, LRX. And this thing, I did test it yesterday over the chronograph, 3,250 feet per second. And that enabled me to do the first step in getting ready, which is a ballistics chart. You've got to have that ballistics chart so you can tell where you need to zero for maximum point blank range. And with this flat shooter at that velocity, it's pretty remarkable. It says if I zero 3 inches high at 100 yards, I should be just about dead on at 300 yards. And then that enables me to reach 350 yards with only a 3.5 inch or so drop in that bullet. And on an elk, that's nothing. So I don't think I'm going to go more than 4 inches high at mid-range trajectory. And then I can go out all the way to 300, actually beyond 350 yards a bit before I'm 4 inches low. And then at 400 yards, I should be 8.5 to 9 inches low. At 500 yards, 23 inches low. And at 600 yards, 44 inches low. Well, I need to get zeroed, first of all, at 100 yards. So let's do that. Now, this rifle is a Borden Timberline, and it's been proven and accurate. Last animal I took with was a whitetail in Kansas, but it has a muzzle brake. Makes it a sweet shooter, but oh, the noise. So I'm double plugging my ears, getting the foam plugs in before I put on the shells. No sense in losing my hearing over this. Now, since I've already gotten my trajectories or my velocities, I'm just going to shoot without a chronograph. But I think what I need to do for you folks is get a camera on that target to see the holes up here, just in case you doubt me. Now, this target's had some holes in it before, but I taped them up. So run out there, turn on the camera, come back and shoot.
Okay, ready to roll, guys. Got a bit of a left to right wind here. 3 to 5 miles an hour shouldn't be too much of a problem for windage. Gotta dial my parallax out. 100 yards, think I'll turn that scope up. Took advantage of that 18 power on that Swarovski. Okay, dead center. Let's see where we hit. Ooh, quite a bit high and a little bit right. So we're 1.25 inches right. We'll correct that.
Okay, so we were right, 1.25 inches. Now, 100 yards, that's MOA, minute of angle. 1.25 inches means we got to move this. This is a quarter MOA clicking turret, so we need 5 to come left. So left, 5. Now elevation, where were we? Boy, we're about 4.5 high. So again, we're gonna come down 4.5, 4. I wanna be 3 inches high at 100, according to my charts. So I'll bring it down in MOA and see how well we do there. All right, second shot. Cross your fingers. This should be about where we wanna be. Ah, nice. Straight up, right on the line. 1, 2. Oh, I'm only 2 up. 2. Those are 1-inch square grids, which makes it pretty nice for figuring exactly where you are, not having to guess it, if you can see the lines. Yeah, I'm about 2.5 up. So I might want to click it up 1/4 inch more. And now I really should shoot 3 times to find the average. I could easily be a bit low and a bit high on every shot. That's just the dispersion of the particular rifle. But this thing usually shoots MOA to half MOA. Don't know with this ammunition yet what it'll do, but I trust it enough that I think I can get by without burning up a lot of ammunition for my advanced tests. So I think I'm going to do that now. Just leave it and see what happens at maximum ordinate, which would be about 150 yards. How high am I going to be there? According to my ballistic chart, I should be 3.8 inches high at 150. If I'm excessively higher than that, then I'm gonna have to make an adjustment. But I'll now have to go out there and move that camera so you can see that hole up here. All right, so I've got the camera set up at 150. Got our round lying loosely. Chamber it. Get our ear protection back on. Now we should be about 4 inches high on this shot. 150 yards, maximum ordinate. That's your peak trajectory. You want to make sure you don't go too high at that distance. That's all I'm guessing will be pretty close to 4 inches up. And it looks like we're 3. 1, 2, 3, 3.5 high. So I could probably dial myself up 1 click here. 1/4 MOA at 100. I'm trusting this. Once again, our windage is looking good. So we're gonna go up to 300 yards. The dilemma I have now is whether I should run all the way out there to put a camera up to record that hit. I think I'm just going to shoot and then we'll go out and examine the target and I'll tell you where it is. I'm gonna have to raise this front sight rest to reach out there because I'm in hilly country here. Don't worry about this angle. A lot of folks will comment on, oh my gosh, you're shooting at an angle that's going to change your impacts. This is only a 7-degree angle that I have measured. Now I'm going to dial my parallax for 300. Dialing parallax simply means you are taking the focus, or you are focusing accurately your scope. So the reticle is sharp and the target is sharp. And then you won't have any differences between the positioning when you're moving your head around in the scope. You shouldn't get parallax, which is an apparent movement of the target in relation to the reticle. I'm seeing a little bit here, so I'm going to tweak it. There we go. Okay. All right, I think we're ready to shoot. You're gonna have to trust me. Now, I know there are some old holes in that paper that I've taped up, so that shouldn't be a problem. We are hoping to land dead center in that top target. Yeah. Now I'm going to the big scope behind me to see what's going on. Let me just check that camera and see if you can see that. All right, let's swing this one out to 300 and see what we've got. And that bullet hole is 1 inch high and 1 inch left. So I better try another one out there. All right, another try at 300. Looks like my elevation is pretty good at 300 yards. An inch off center is not that bad. That kind of dispersion, natural dispersion for an MOA rifle at that distance would be 3 inches. Here comes Cubby for the retrieve. Cubby, nothing to retrieve, girl. That is about 3/4 of an inch low and 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch to the right. So I'd say bingo. Split the difference on those two, and we're right there for 300 yards. I like it. I'm essentially ready to go now. Well, here's my 300-yard target. Bingo, bingo, aim point right there. You can't complain. I mean, that is sub-MOA for 300 yards. 300-yard MOA target, you would have your bullet holes 3 inches apart, and these are more like 2 1/4, 2 1/2 inches. So, excellent. We'll see what the elk think of it. So, I am essentially zeroed and ready to go. Ideally, I will shoot more often to make sure I've got my group centering every time there. But as I said before, this is an old rifle that I've used for many years and I trust it. The ammunition seems to be consistent. When I chronographed it, I was getting within about, 25 feet per second was my extreme spread on it, I think. So I really trust all of this rig. But what I'd like to do is shoot it at 400 yards to see if my drops match up with the trajectory projections here. And 600 if I can, but that's going to require my going to a different range. Now I do have a target on top of the hill at a bit of a more steep angle that I can engage at 400 yards. It'll give me a rough idea that I'm there. 18-inch target, I believe it is. It might be a 12. It's been years since I've been up there to look at it, but I might just take a wing at that one. Hang in there. I've got one more box of this ammo, so I can't shoot too much more, but it would be a nice confirmation to see what's going on up there. All right, I ran up and got the smartphone onto the Swarovski spotting scope so we could see this target get hit. Ammo. Now I've dialed my scope up. We'll talk about that in a bit. Got a crazy steep angle here. I hope I can get into the gun properly and find my target. There we go. So I'm gonna hold dead on because I do have the dial for 400. Look like a smack. Can't hear anything with all this on, but let's just go check the video. Woohoo! Well, I replayed the video and I saw what happened. The elevation looked really good, but the windage got me. I forgot to allow for windage. While I've been talking, the wind has come up probably a good 8 gusting to 10. And that's going to give me about 10 inches of wind deflection. Let's check my chart, 400 yards. Windage, 9.9 inches. That's 2.4 MOA. I didn't allow for any of that. Now I can use the reticle in the scope to allow for that and see what we get on this next hit. All right, now the wind has seemed to have calmed down, at least here. Up on that hill though, don't see any tree branches moving. Check the grass out there. Yeah, that's blowing pretty good. So I will into the wind. It wanted 2 MOA, 2.4 MOA. Looks like I missed again. I didn't hear a clang. This is why one doesn't just jump into long range shooting. I looked at the video again and I missed it just off the left edge, so I allowed too much for wind deflection. This is the challenge of longer range shooting. So often we just think, wow, you buy the right scope, you dial it, you guesstimate the wind. It's really a lot more challenging than that. I probably missed that target by an inch at the most on the left side because I overestimated the wind deflection that time. So I'm going to stop with the wind business right now because I don't have enough ammunition to play this game, but I do think it's a good dramatization of how concerned you have to be about this longer range shooting. And 400 yards isn't considered to be all that long by most shooters. So you really need to work on calling your winds and shooting a lot, which of course I'm guilty of not doing with this particular setup because, as I said, elk season opens tomorrow. I'm going to get close. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. I think next time we're going to talk about how this scope setup is that Swarovski has. I don't know, it's pretty simple and easy to use once you've got it set up. It's a little complicated to set up simply because they don't have minute of angle, quarter click hash marks at the quarter click. They've got it at 5 instead of 4. You dial 4 times, that's your MOA adjustment, and then there's a larger mark that you would normally grab really quick to move it 1 MOA, but it's at 5 clicks. So I don't quite understand what that's all about. We'll cover it later. Hope that does it for you, folks. We'll see what happens on this elk hunt and report back later.
That's a dead bull. Hit him again. Got him again.
Hunt in my own neighborhood and get a bull like this. 7 by 7. Good luck on all your hunts this fall. Don't do as I do, do as I say.